Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quatt, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us for an early morning podcast. Well, I guess technically for her, it's in the afternoon, but we have Mikala Fredriksson. How's it going today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. This is so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to have you here. I'm so excited my voice cracked there a couple times in the intro, but that we'll leave it as it is. So,
Yeah.
so how's everything going across the pond?
Good. Yeah, it's an exciting time for country music in the UK. This year's been amazing for me personally. I feel like I've done loads of stuff, loads of exciting gigs. I've met loads of cool people. I've done some cool writing sessions. I'm learning so much. And we just have, I mean, country music here in the UK is, it's just massive. It's everywhere. It's everything. So for us as artists, it's like a really exciting time to be putting out music and performing. And next year looks just as good. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it all. I'm just loving it. Sometimes there's so many things happening. You forget to just be like, that's so good. That's awesome. You know, nothing can happen for ages. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, do you want to do this or this? Or there's music coming out. And yes, it's hard to take it all in sometimes, but it's just, I love it. I'm just having so much fun. So it's great.
Yeah. I'm glad to see that the UK country scene has like really found and developed its style of country music.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I feel like it has. It's still very much taken from American country. Like
mm,
it is always going to be where it came
yeah.
from, isn't it? But I personally, in my music now, I'm looking at sort of still keeping all the main elements of country music,
Yeah.
but you know, like in one of my songs, I've named something local to me, and I feel like we can still make country music, but make it English,
hmm
you know, because but I personally fall in love with the songs that speak about Texas or
mm,
about. I feel like that's what's so charming, and that's what we all dream about here in the UK, and that's why we're all flying out to Nashville and all these
yeah.
places, these cool places. It's definitely, you know, but I do think it's important as well that when we're making country music that we, you know, put our own spin on it. And
Yeah.
we have our own country scene here. We have all our country vibes here in the UK.
Yeah.
We can definitely make our own thing as well. I know that other countries, Norway, Sweden, they've got a huge country thing as well at the minute. Everyone just loves it in Europe, I
hmm
reckon.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it's taking your own spin on it as well. I mean, my next song that's out tomorrow is so American anyway. I mean, it's proper Western vibes, but I love that. That's what made me love it from the start. So I kind of like putting a little bit of element of everything in there and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Finding that connective tissue was always kind of the because so I started interviewing country artists from the UK in 2020, pandemic, lockdown. Nobody really had anything else to do but podcasts and stuff like that. And so when I was starting to interview some of the young up and coming artists, they would talk about how because I think in 2020 at that time, like Little Nas X, Old Town Road was still like topping the country charts, and it had been out for 3 years at that 2 or 3 years at that point, whatever it was. And now kind of paying attention to the charts and seeing more local local artists get on that chart, but then also like more modern country artists in general. So it just kind of shows that transcending from America into the UK is helping fuel that UK scene where you guys are paying homage to what you're talking about of it's still very traditional, like the Texas Red Dirt sound or the Nashville more polished pop country sound. Like that sounds mean to say, but it is kind of
yeah, no, totally,
yeah.
yeah,
But just kind of paying homage to those original sources, but still being authentic to who you guys are as UK country artists.
yeah, exactly that. And that's whenever I sit down and write with anyone, or start out with a song or any of the music I want to put out. It's always inspired by something or someone as well. I mean, I always have something to say that's mine, but when I listen to so much country music that you're always taking little bits and pieces of, but it always, I don't know. I look at people like Cody Johnson, Lainey Wilson, people like that, and I just, they're like iconic people to me. I love stuff like that. So to create anything similar along those lines, I definitely think that's the inspiration. That's why we do it, and then adding your own thing, and that's cool because a lot of, I mean, in America, USA, all the people who are making country music, some of it is similar and between each other's music and stuff. So I don't know. I think we're all kind of on the same sheet, then adding our own stuff in there. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of, inspiration and stuff like that, you have your new song Wild Horses or Wild Horse. Got to get that one right. What was the inspiration behind this song?
I think I'm a massive horsey girl. I have horses just out the back of my house. I can see them right now from where I'm talking to you. I've always got my eyes on them. So I feel like a huge inspiration for me is being out with my horses. That's what country is to me. Being out with them, being out with my friends who ride horses, who have horses. Our life is horses. Like it comes first, probably as much as my music. So I could sit and write songs about horses all day, and I know that sounds to some people that could be insanely boring if that's not what you're into. But there's so many things you learn from them about relationships and life that you could write about it all day. So the Wild Horse was just where I'm at in my life right now. I'm in my 30s. I've been singing music, singing covers for a really long time. And I just felt like I'm actually at a point now where I'm like, this is good. This is what I want to do. This is where I should have been probably a long time ago, but I've got there. It's probably a good time because country music's so fashionable now. And it's also a bit of, during the song, it's about like, sometimes I'm a bit conflicted. I question myself. My confidence is not always the best. But ultimately, I'm at an age and at a time of my life where it's like, I'm going for it. Don't try and keep hold of me. I'll be gone. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm good. I'm happy. And no one else should be in charge of that. It's my life. I'm doing it. Because I do think sometimes people can sort of, oh, I don't know if you should do that or you should do this, or but it's like, no, since I've taken the reins of my own life, it's gone pretty well in music. So that's kind of where I wanted to go. And also, it's just for like girls like me, dead normal girls who just have a bit of fire still, like just a bit wild, which I like. I like singing about stuff like that, like anthemic stuff and girl power stuff. I think that's because I was probably brought up in the Spice Girls era, like a 90s kid. But yeah, but this single is one of my favorites. And but it is very wet. You can tell that I've watched a lot of Yellowstone and stuff like that.
Sure. Actually, it's quite funny. Funny, you're the first UK artist to ever bring up the Spice Girls on the podcast.
What? As if that's what we do here. We are the Spice Girls.
I don't know if it's just because I've been interviewing a lot of younger musicians and they just don't know who the Spice Girls are.
Probably.
But I remember when they first came over to America in like what was it, like the mid to late 90s, whatever it was. And yeah, so.
Yeah. Spice Girls, Shania Twain. That's like kind of what I listened to as a kid.
Yeah.
So probably why I am where I am now, singing poppy country girl power stuff. It makes sense.
Fair. I do want to touch on one thing because it was the first thing that when I first ran across your Instagram page a few weeks ago, months ago, whatever it was at this point, was the bright blue LA Dodgers jacket on your Rebound. I'm guessing it was like the photo shoot for Rebound.
Yeah. Yeah, I do them out back of my house because I spend so much money on getting my music out there. I'm kind of done when it comes to promoting it. So I'm just like, right, get a camera, we're going out back, we find a new spot, and we just film stuff. And it always works. I always end up like, yeah, it's pretty good. So the Dodgers jacket, I found it on Vinted.
Okay.
So yeah, I just love one-off pieces that I find on there, and it's a stunning blue color. And it was around the time I think Megan Maroney was in blue. So, you know, I was like, that blonde hair and that blue is something else. I need me something blue. So I found I have got this awesome Bulls jersey in my wardrobe, and it's like pure sequin Chicago Bulls one-off piece. I just love stuff like that. So when I find it, I'm like, yes. And I just thought it was a bit different for the shoot.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I have to say it was purely a fashion choice, and I'm not
Okay.
a fan of these things. Sorry.
No. That's 100% fine. I just saw it because that's like an iconic jacket, like the style of the jacket, like the way the Dodgers is written on it. I don't think that's really the iconic part of it, because it's not to go
Yeah.
into too deep of my
No,
sports history here,
I
but
don't know
like,
what I'm talking about. I don't want to offend anyone about sport.
no, you're not offended, but just like that, the blue with the white pinstriping around the
Yeah,
collar and the, like, whatever the bottom part of the jacket is called, that's just like a really iconic look. So
I love it. I love
yeah.
that jacket. But do you know what I feel a little bit like? It's once you've seen it, it's kind of like you've brought it up. So now I feel like, can you wear that all the time, or is it one of them one-off things? Does it just need to stay for that shoot, and then maybe I
I,
need to see it again on Vinted?
Honestly, I think it's a show thing. You need to wear it like every once in a while. It shows. Like, I think if you wear it out to at just like on your day to day, like if you're going into town or whatever, that kind of overplays it a little bit. But like whenever you're playing shows, if you wear it once a
Yeah,
week, whatever, yeah,
that's what I'll do.
yeah. I don't know. I just saw it and it stuck out. Now, had you been wearing the Chicago Bulls jersey, that would have stuck out more, because I was born and raised in Chicago in the 90s when the Bulls were everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God, I need to show you that one day. Maybe I'll take a picture just because it's so cool. I got it from a high street store a few years ago. It was just like a little range that they did, but it's so cool. Anyway, awesome.
Nice. Nice. Oh, so with Wild Horse, it comes out tomorrow. As you're less than 24 hours before the release, what's kind of running through your mind right now?
Um, as I've already put a few songs out, I've got a little bit more comfortable with it. So I just feel basically, I hope that it reaches the people that it's meant to, and that people understand what I'm trying to say, and they get it and they enjoy it as much as I do. And they just think, yeah, this is a nice song, you know, like, um, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just proud of my music. I'm proud to be doing it. And as long as like no one sends me any hate about it, I'm good. Like, that sounds awful. Which I've never had yet. People are kind,
Yeah.
I think. So,
Yeah.
but no, yeah, I just like that people, you know, even a handful of people might reach out to me and say, oh, I listen to your song, or I put it on my playlist, or I love your song. And I do have people, especially on Instagram, that do reach out, and it's not like thousands of people, but it's people that I value, and I'm grateful for that, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So now that you're hitting the finish line, or hitting the finish line of the pre-release, and then starting a whole new race of promoting it once it's out,
Yeah.
what's kind of the thought process moving forward? Are you already looking at the next song? Because I know you just released a song in September, so you're kind of
Yeah,
turning
so
quick.
I am. And I kind of wanted to get an EP out this year, which I have, or will have. I think after this one, I was going to put out one more song this year, which I still might, because I get excited about it and I think, oh, now we need to do this and that. And but I feel like I might leave it at Wild Horse, because it's quite a powerful song, and as I told you, I'm really proud. I like it. It's great. And then after that, I'm going to just try and get out there and perform my music as much as I can in live shows. I think that's where that's where I'm best.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, I'm all right on Instagram, but I'm not as upfront as some people. I get a bit scared of putting myself out there. I don't know why. But I struggle like making videos of myself being like, hi, listen to my music, blah, blah, blah. I love watching other people's. I just don't know if I'm very good at it. But I also think I've probably not done it enough to. I feel like I just need to sort of do it and get on with it and not worry about it. But after this, I'll just carry on sort of pushing these songs that I've already put out because we've done that all year. I'll be performing them. I have some merch coming out, which is Wild Horse inspired because that's very relevant to me. So it's kind of what I would want to put out there as a brand. So I'm waiting for my merch, which is here any day now. And then, because obviously I'm still pretty new to this. This is like my first year of doing this. So I've done a little bit of learning by doing as well. And it has got easier. And I don't think I've made any major mistakes, but there are definitely things that I think, oh, maybe, could have done this or could have done that. And it's all learning and doing and running along with things.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely going out performing and just trying to just get people to listen to my music really and keep plodding on.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I wanted to go back to something, just the Instagram thing. I 100% understand where you're coming from, but just this brief conversation we have, you're such a natural on camera that I think even if you just did like live streams or something and just talk to people, that's personality enough. So,
do you know though, I had two venues that asked me to do a video, just to say, hi, I'm Mikala Fredriksson and I'm performing at this place on this date and whatever. And I had my friend try and film me. When someone puts a camera to me to perform to and film, I'm like a different person. I behave strange. I say the wrong thing. I can't get my words out. I just can't deal with the pressure. However, when I'm in my own space and I can kind of do it for myself and re-record it and I can just about get by. But yeah, I don't know. I just think maybe I need some practice.
When it almost sounds like you're the need to just continually record, and then once you kind of forget that the camera's rolling, then that natural like element's going to come out.
Yeah.
So
definitely. I think I'll definitely do more of that as well, because I do think as well, people, even though I think, God, does anyone actually care and stuff? And why would they want to keep seeing me, every time they're scrolling on Instagram? But I love watching people and I am interested in them. So I'm guessing, I maybe just need to think, just do it, get on with it.
fair, very fair. So you'd mentioned this was your first full year kind of in music. What's that?
It's my first year of putting out original music.
Okay.
So prior to this year, so last year I was writing music and learning, and I was doing co-writing sessions. And then previous to that, my whole career and life has been singing covered band stuff. And I don't know what my life's been doing all this time, but I just never thought I could do this. I just felt, well, this is what I do. I'm singing covers. I'm not a great guitarist. I can get by. I just never thought I would get to this point. So going back to what I was saying before, so the fact that I am is, I'm like, do you know what? You're doing all right. Just keep plugging away at it, because it's never too late to learn. I am very late in the game when you think about, I probably should have done this at 21 years old. But I just think timing's everything, and it is what it is. So it's all good.
100% agreed. It's when the inspiration hits, that's when you write. It's just like time will play out in the long run. So, as long as you're passionate and having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that's what I try and always keep hold of. The fact that it is actually fun. Like when I studied in university, I studied to be a nurse.
Yeah.
This was years ago, and that was what I did. So I was working in nursing in hospitals. So when I think that I could be going out, even playing covers music or making music, and was so lucky. It's such a lucky thing and an awesome thing to do compared to that was like a normal job I did. And yeah, so I just think, but I actually live and breathe country music, and I would do even if I wasn't making my own music. I would still be
Mhm.
at the gigs and doing it because I just love it. It's like my whole life.
Mm.
So to be able to do it as well is just incredible. I just love it.
Nice, nice. Speaking of just loving country music, who's got your ear right now? Who are you listening to that's like really like, okay, they're doing something special right now?
Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of Corey Kent
Okay.
and Ella Langley.
Okay.
Um, but then I have like my originals, my OGs, my staple people, which is like I said, Cody Johnson. I like the Texas stuff. I like George Strait, Miranda Lambert. But then I like the Steel Drivers. I've just, oh my God, my list is probably as huge as everyone else's because we can. This was another thing when I was thinking about how I ended up where I was. We've got Spotify, we can listen to anything we want at any time. So it's just incredible. So my playlist it's got everything on there. But definitely Corey Kent was pretty new to me. And I listen to like Tucker Wetmore now. That
Hmm.
for me, they're quite new artists that I've been listening to because we've been hearing a lot of their stuff on radio as well. Um, but when I first seriously got into country music, it was like Chris Stapleton. They were the first ones that sort of came more popular in the UK, and
Yeah.
now we get everything. We get everything. So I would say, sadly, I listen to probably more male country. Not for any reason. It
Yeah.
just to be what my ear enjoys. But I am a massive Miranda Lambert fan. I don't know if that's because she's at a similar place in her life and she's similar age to me,
Hmm.
so I kind of relate to her a lot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What about you? Who's like your number one?
Oh, so recent, so I've had this battle for a very long time because I don't listen to a lot of mainstream artists just
Hmm.
because we support independent music, and I think it'd be very hypocritical if I didn't listen
Hmm.
to, you know, more independent artists than mainstream. But Jelly Roll has been sneaking into my playlist pretty consistently. Um, it's this young kid. I'm actually going out to Dallas. So I live in Texas right now. So when you were mentioning all the Texas stuff, I was like, yes. Oh, but there's this young kid, Austin Williams. He's doing some really incredible stuff, and he blew up on TikTok a little bit because he did a '90s hip hop mashup, but country.
Nice.
And so like
Love
me
that.
be growing up in the '90s with all the hip hop references, it was like, okay, cool. I love that. And so like I've been really getting into his music recently. So
That's yeah, love
yeah,
that. I have to have a listen because I love when people tell me someone that I've not heard of.
yeah.
There's out there. So yeah, we have some great UK artists as well, and I obviously listen. Do you listen to a lot? Like, do you know the UK scene?
So yes,
Yeah,
I know. So I have two outstanding invites. Um, one's to come out for Country on the Coast in what is it, March, April,
yeah,
whenever it is, and
yeah,
then the British Country Music Festival. And so I
yeah,
kind of like watch the two of those to see who's like coming up. I
mm,
had I went through a really big Kezia Gill phase where I was like really into her music. Right
yeah.
now, there's a band, First Time Flyers,
Yes,
and
the
like,
song Joke is so good.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I
yeah,
I had interviewed Poppy like early on during the pandemic, and then we kind of lost touch because I think she went through some like health stuff there for a little bit, and then she was trying to do trying to get the band started, and we just haven't really had a chance to reconnect. We talk a little bit here and there, but I'm hoping to get them on here in 2025. So yeah.
Yeah. There's some awesome stuff. There's a girl I listen to, a girl called Twinny. Do
Hmm.
you know Twinny?
Yep.
Yeah. She's one of my favorite UK artists. She's
Uh,
awesome. And she's over in Nashville. She does amazing. She's
yeah.
someone I always, God, she's doing incredible.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
had I haven't listened to too much of their music, but Remember Monday.
yeah,
Yeah, I met them at CMA Fest this year and had them on and talked a little bit, but I haven't really had a chance to dive into their music that deeply, but I'm hoping to get an opportunity. Like I'm kind of waiting for them to push their next release and then I'll just kind of jump in from there. So
yeah. So you mentioned the British Country Music Festival.
yeah.
I live in that town where that
Okay.
is.
Yeah.
You said about Texas, and I dragged my husband to Texas to watch Cody Johnson at the Houston Rodeo,
Nice.
like last year or something. So like I've been to Nashville, I've been to Texas, like because I like riding, so we went did some horse riding out in Fort Worth
Hmm.
and also in outside of Houston, and then we went to Nashville. This is in different trips, but I love Texas. I feel like it's just got this charm about it.
Yeah.
Loved Nashville, loved it. But Texas for me, I think I could live there.
Well, we'd welcome you with open arms.
Yeah.
You
So
and
if
your
you see
you
me in the neighborhood, whereabouts do you live?
So I live in Waco.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like it's got a lot of negative connotation from its history, but
Uh-huh. Yeah.
nowadays what's that?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I know it was on Netflix, wasn't it?
yeah, yep. That
But
whole
I mean,
thing.
I'm sure it doesn't define the whole town and every person there.
No, not at all. But now since I've moved here, more recently, we're known for Fixer Upper, which is a local couple. They started remodeling homes and then they turned it into a TV show and now it's like a media thing. And so they're based out of here. So
Yeah, that's so cool. How
yeah.
far are you from Houston? Because I saw the sign for Waco when I was driving around there.
Yeah. So Houston, I don't go to Houston all that often, but I want to say we're probably about 3 hours,
Yeah.
2 hours,
Okay.
3 hours.
So that's
So
probably not that far in American terms because I
no.
forget how you can travel for like 20 hours and hardly go anywhere.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I lived out in New Mexico for a lot of years and it took 3 hours to get to the next biggest town. Like you'd go through a lot of little like
Yeah.
farming
Yeah.
communities every once in a while, but to get to like the next big city, it would be like 3 hours. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
Because that's honestly, yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
So
It and I had that realization about the UK not long ago. I have this dream and aspiration of doing a podcast tour in the UK. And so I was just like, okay, these are all the cities that I kind of want to hit. And I was looking at the total travel time and it was like for 12 cities, I think it was under like 9 hours or something. And I'm like, I'm traveling like all the way across the country like two or three times. How does
yeah.
this math? And a friend explained to me like the UK or England in general isn't that big. So I'm like, fair, that
Ti-
tracks.
It's tiny compared to US, so
Yeah,
you forget it's weird. But yeah.
right. Uh, so obviously outside of music, you're really into horses and all that stuff. But when
Yeah.
is that kind of your decompression to kind of escape the music
Yeah.
industry?
Yeah, and I think it's just where I go to get away from everything, everyone.
Fair.
I'm definitely an animal person, um, before anything, probably.
Fair.
So yeah, I mean, I'm always busy out gigging on a weekend and doing various different things. So yeah, being out with animals or being out riding is just when you're on a horse, you're concentrating on that, aren't you? So it doesn't give your brain any time to go anywhere else. So it's just a complete chill for me. And yeah, that's what I could quite happily just be around horses every single day, do it as a job, anything. I just love it. So But and I think when you've got horses, you don't have time to do anything else.
Yeah.
Like, so I've
Fair.
got my job, my music and my horses, and that's me. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I've got time for doing other normal stuff.
Fair. Very fair. It's like, I mean, that's the life on a farm, ranch, like whatever it is,
You know,
mm,
I like it. Sorry to interrupt,
oh, you're good.
because um I'm quite I don't know, I find it really easy to be up and down, like not in mood or, well, I need some focus all the time. So if I get up every morning, I know that the horses need feeding, they need cleaning, they need we need to ride, and it just keeps my life really stable. Pardon the pun, stable, It's like, it does. It keeps me on it keeps me level headed,
Hmm.
keeps me on the right track. If I stay in my house all day and don't go outside, I'm not in a good way. Like,
Yeah.
I have to be outside. It's just what works for me, and they
Yeah.
work for me, and I like having that in my life. I don't know if that's because with music, with traveling around, with doing shows, it's kind of not that route. It's not a proper routine.
Yeah.
You're up very late. You can sleep all day. I can't, but it can get a lot. And I think that's not always that good for me. I feel like I need to be someone who has some structure, or I not necessarily go off the rails, but I feel like I'm at my healthiest mentally when I
Hmm.
have that focus. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of rely on it now a little bit, because I know that it makes me feel good. I know when I get on a horse, it's going to be, I mean, they're dangerous, don't get me wrong, but like, my horse is a good boy. So we have some very good times together, and I look forward to them. So I always know when I come home, we got the horses, we go out riding, we do our thing, and all will be well. And that makes me very happy.
Nice. That's good. Hey, happiness is key, especially
Oh,
outside the industry.
yeah, I think you need, in any job, like in any career, in anything you do in your life, I do think it's good to have a hobby, just a hobby, something else, something like just something else to focus on.
Yep.
I'm a believer in that, because it works for me, especially if you've got a busy little brain that's always, if I go on Instagram and, I can sit and you can scroll for hours, which I
Hmm.
do like everyone else, but sometimes I end up thinking, oh, I'm not doing enough of this, or I should be doing that, or they're doing this. And we all can fall into that. So I feel like, okay, get your boots on, get outside,
Yeah.
switch off. And it's real good for me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
100%. 100% agreed. So kind of looking forward, if anybody wants to check out your music, Wild Horse, any new releases, shows, social media, any of that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
I reckon I do most of my, Instagram. I reckon that's where I put everything that everyone needs to know about.
Yeah.
I always put out where I'm going to be, where my shows are, all my new music, um, fun stuff. Yeah, I reckon that's where I'm most active. And I have a nice little community of friends on there now, and yeah, and they want to know stuff, and it's nice. So definitely Instagram. That's where it's at.
Nice. I think Instagram's where it's at for a lot of musicians right now. So
Yeah,
to
I would like to be more of a TikToker, but again, it's a little bit like I need to get to that. Yeah, I'm working on it.
fair, very fair. I try and be TikTok friendly, but honestly, I just don't have the time to create exclusive content for TikTok. If like what I'm already making works on TikTok, cool, no harm, no foul. But
Same,
yeah,
same. Yeah,
so
and that's cool. It's different, but Instagram's a little bit. You can post pictures, videos. It's not as like, yeah. It's more my thing. So yeah, it's good.
nice, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. But once again, I really appreciate your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. Um, Before we wrap this up, though, what's one piece of advice you have for the young musicians out there?
I reckon it's similar to what we touched on before. Did you say, sorry, to young musicians?
Yeah, younger musicians. Yeah.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, I would say if you're not happy with something, don't do it. If it's getting too much, take a break, switch your phone off, and also just absolutely go for it because you don't get the time back. So, like, if you believe in something, if you really, really, really want to do it, don't give up on it. Go for it. Enjoy. Take a breath. Be proud of yourself, and just be happy with what you're doing. Because honestly, it's so easy to fall into so many traps and, just not always. Sometimes you can be so busy looking for something else that you miss what you've
Mm.
got as well. So, as long as you're happy what you're doing and but you've got to work hard as well. It's all right. It's easy to say, oh, well, I'm happy or this or that. You can't make excuses. You do have to work hard as well. But
Yeah.
as long as you know when you get in bed at night, you've done your best and you've worked hard and you've gone for it and you give it your best, you know, I think that's like the best. That's like a comfortable place to be.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you agree?
I agree. 100%. 100%.
I
It,
think that's
it,
how I felt moving, just looking back on my life. Like I probably could have maybe gone for it a little bit more, but was a bit
mm,
reluctant. And, so I just think really go for it, work hard, be proud of yourself, but also don't, if something's a bit like, I'm not sure about that, don't do it.
mhm,
It's not fine to say, I'm not happy with this, I want to work harder on that, because I was definitely a bit of a yes girl when I was younger.
mhm.
And now I'm a bit like, no, I don't like that. I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I think that's, you can still do that and be a good person.
Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I, I 100% agree. It's one of those things where timing is everything. And if you try and force yourself into a situation that you're not 100% ready for, just because, just because we'll go with just because, I think you could do more harm to your interests than you would if you were to just be like, okay, I'm not ready right now, but 3, 5, 7 years, I'm ready,
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Like, obviously, I'll just one last thing,
yep.
just because I know that's true. In 2012, I went on the first series of The Voice here in the UK. And I sang a song that they didn't force me into it. So
Yeah.
it was a song that on a list I sort of picked. Anyway, it was the wrong song. I knew it was the wrong song. And regardless of all those things, regardless of the song and everything else, I was not ready to go in front of that
Mhm.
situation. I was petrified. I could hardly breathe, never mind sing. It was that bad. The whole situation was completely wrong. And yet I got in front of the judges, they didn't turn around. No shock.
Mhm.
When I look back now on it, had they turned around, even if every single one of them had, I was absolutely probably wouldn't have managed to get through the stages. I was petrified. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know.
Mhm.
I knew that I loved singing and I knew that I wanted to sing, but I had no idea about very much else. I wasn't
Mhm.
brought up in anything similar to that. I had no idea what I was going to London from a small village where I grew up. I was just completely clueless. And honestly, they never showed it on TV either. And the whole thing was perfect because again, if they'd have showed me in that situation of not even being myself, of acting in a way that I was petrified, the whole thing would have been a disaster. And I would have probably looked back every single day and thought, my God, did that happen? But it didn't because there's no evidence of it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like it's fine. But it was a wonderful opportunity, but also it was the wrong one at that time for me. It was
Yeah.
completely, I wasn't ready for it and I wasn't capable of it. Some girls at my age would have smashed it, but I wasn't. And it was
Yeah.
absolute, and it's only now, a long, long, long time later, that I can think, no, it was right. It was absolutely how it should have been.
Mhm.
So, you know, some things in life, I mean, it's a bit cliche. Oh, everything happens for a reason, but some things do.
Mhm.
It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yep, it is. It really, and like what you're talking about, I've seen play out several different times on whether it's Idol, whether it's The Voice, America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, or
Yeah.
what was the other one? X Factor, or whatever. You know, there's been so many different variations of these talent shows, but you see these musicians that are kind of forced into this, okay, you gotta play this song, and
Yeah.
then the judges go, that wasn't the right fit for you. And like after the I've seen it play out a couple different times, more specifically on The Voice in the early years, where they'd be like, that wasn't the right song for you. What would you really sang if you could go back? And
Yeah.
then they find like a song that's more authentic to them and they crush it. And it's like, yeah,
Exactly.
see, yeah.
You know, and I just think even then I was that, you know, I wouldn't have even known what to sing at that point
Mhm.
to rush it. I think I was literally like, oh my, I was just overwhelmed, completely lost the plot. And it was, you know, but sometimes now I think, God, I would love to do that opportunity again now, being the person I am now and the growth that I've had over the years. But then maybe what I'm doing now is exactly what I should be doing, putting my
Mhm.
own music out and telling my own stories with no one else sort of manipulating anything or editing any, you know, you can put out exactly what you want to put out. And I think we're in a very fortunate time that we can do that. So
Mhm.
it's worked out well for me. You know, country music's come into a huge, you know, it's hugely popular now, and I'm being able to do what I do now. So it all worked out in that sense. Which is really nice. When you look at it, depends how you look at things. I like to be a glass half full person.
Yeah.
Say
I
that. Not today. We're only human, but you know what I mean.
right. I used to be, for the longest time, I was a glass half empty person. And
Same.
nowadays it's like, nope, nope, that's not a life worth living. So
No, and again, that's another thing I would say to my younger self. Always glass half full. There's good in
mhm.
everything. Every day you can find something good. If you put your mind in that zone, which I do, I have to, and it
Yeah,
works. So, but
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. But I really appreciate your time. It's that ending went really well. You know, it was like, oh, we're wrapping this up, and then we went on for another 15 minutes. So it's all good.
I could keep you here all day, Tom. That's what I love to chat.
Hey, I need to write that down for next time I do a fundraiser. So, uh,
Put me
but
on the
awesome. We'll have that conversation. But once again, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Um, anybody
inviting me
that,
on. Mhm.
yeah, I was going to say, if anybody wants to listen to Mikala's music, you know, Spotify link will be in the description below. Wild Horse, by the time you probably hear this, Wild Horse will be close to
Yay.
being out. So we'll just go ahead and throw the Spotify link in. And yeah, other than that, once again, thank you all so very much. And we'll see you all later.
Bye. Thank you.